Hey everyone, welcome back to Just Jake Reviews. I do album, movies, and sports games, and today we have a very special video. We have a very special guest joining us, Johnny G, everybody.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Man?
Pleasure to have you here.
Oh, likewise.
So today's video is going to be around the Beatles. You can call them the best band of all time. You can call them the greatest musicians of all time. You are a huge Beatles fan, which is why you are here. And yeah, I did my research. I also love the Beatles. I think they're an amazing band, and yeah, one of my favorite bands of all time. So we have, I went through all their albums over the past few days and listened to them, and I ranked them. There is 11, because we're not counting Yellow Submarine, so there's 11. I have them ranked 11 to 1. I have my top 3 for each of them, and we can just go through the albums and talk about them. Our lists are going to be completely different. My list is interesting because, you know, the Beatles music, you could change like your perspective on any album any day. Like one album can sound like this, one album can sound like that any day.
Well, I've been listening to the Beatles. I'm 29 years old. I started listening to the Beatles when I was 12, and if there's one thing that I've learned is that your taste can go from day to day. In fact, I've got like multiple lists just stored away, some with my personal bias in it, some where I take my bias out and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's really, and the Beatles are one of the very few bands that you can actually like make lists like that, deciphering the different styles and different tastes.
Yeah. So I figured, you know, might as well talk about, you know, all the albums. I was like, we could do a top 10, but I feel like we're not covering everything because that's not even every album, because there's 11 albums and there's only 10 songs, so we'd be missing out a few. So my opinions could change, you know, literally tomorrow. You're gonna disagree with these. It's fine. I expect you to put down in the comments what you disagree with, because I would, you know, I reply to any comment, and yeah, I'm interested to see what you have as your top 3. So you have your list. I have my list. And yeah, I think I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's just get right into it.
I'm really interested in hearing these.
Yeah, this is gonna be. Hold on, I think I did my math wrong. Hold on. There's 12. I apologize. Not 11. There's 12. My bad. It's all good.
You included Magical Mystery Tour.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Well, that's an album. I feel yeah.
It was only in America, but still, I mean,
that is true.
Many people still include that as in the original.
That's
the original package.
That's the only album where the American version is canon. Every other album, the UK version is canon, and the American version is, you know, like.
They really screwed that up when they did the American version.
They stopped doing that.
Capitol.
They stopped doing that with the later albums. Like
Pepper was the first album they
did not.
They did it identically both sides of the Atlantic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because like. The Beatles' first album, which is what the American version is called, it's literally called the Beatles' first album. Instead of Please Please Me, there's some songs off of that version that aren't on the.
And there's also like and I mean that's like super early, and then there's introducing the Beatles, and then finally, right as they're about to take the stage at the Ed Sullivan show, that's when Meet the Beatles comes out on Capitol, and next thing you know, Beatlemania is born in America.
Which is the greatest television moment probably in history, one of them. I mean, it was so loud. Like I think it's broadcasted in the millions of people who watched it, that Ed Sullivan show. So
absolutely, that particular episode, yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's crazy. People had to like rush home, and it was nuts.
George Harrison, I think, once said that was the 1 hour, that was like 1 hour where there was no violence, no nothing, everyone was just glued to the television set.
If you think about it, it's pretty sad. But yeah, no, that is true though. That was a crazy moment. All right, so my number 12, last place. So the album that I have at 11 has always been my last place for the longest time. But I don't know why, for some reason, when I heard this album, I was like, you know what, I'm not feeling this album. And this is probably a pretty popular opinion when it comes to albums that are probably in the bottom half of their discography. Number 12, I've Let It Be. The final album. Not really. Abbey Road is, but this is the last album that they
It's the last album that they released.
Recorded as Abbey Road.
Yes.
And it should have been like that. Abbey Road should have been the closer.
Although technically there was one song that was recorded for Let It Be that was recorded after Abbey Road, but John had already left the group. But the bulk of that album was recorded during the Get Back sessions, and then it got put on the shelf.
Let It Be, their final album. I'm gonna call it that because it is their final album. I don't know. Maybe I was just like, I'm not gonna say I was tired of like, because their discography is pretty long, and like after you hear Abbey Road, you're like, okay, I mean, like the end in like Her Majesty should have been the end, but no. This album is kind of mid, I'm gonna say. I don't really love a whole lot of songs. In fact, I kind of broke the rules with this album. I did not put a top 3 for this album because I only like one song, and that's One After 909.
Yeah, that's a good one. Kind of a raunchy train song or whatnot. It's actually one of the earlier songs that John and Paul had actually written. I mean, that song goes way back to like
Oh, really?
I think early '60s.
I did not know that.
But I mean, I think this might be the only place where we agree. I would probably put Let It Be at the end as well.
Really?
Because I mean, don't get me wrong, that it's got Get Back, not the single version, but the version that's got all the chattering on both ends.
Get Back, sung by Paul, but you can't tell. It's a new voice he's doing, kind of. Really?
No, it's actually the same. It's actually the same voice as you hear on the. It's actually the same voice you hear on the single. But
the single.
It's
okay.
but it's different in the sense that the outro they got rid of the outro, and it's been replaced with sound from Apple,
the show.
the rooftop concert.
The Apple's concert, yeah.
But the biggest thing, the reason why I don't like the biggest thing that kind of turned me off about Let It Be was the fact that you had so much like background noise, just extra noise that didn't have to be there.
None of these
You have
songs stick
quotes
out.
I mean, you really, I mean, you got so many that, like, two of us on the first one. I mean, the first you hear John Lennon joking around in the studio. He's like, "I dig a pig, babe, by Charles Hawtrey," and and I'm like, "What the heck is this?
Yeah.
Is this?" And then I hear two. So I mean, the music is good. It's just the way that it was packaged, and I think you can thank Phil Spector for that.
He's gonna go more deeper than me because he knows more about the Beatles than me. But that's why I got him on the show. So that's why, because he knows all about the songs. I just know all the songs. You probably know the song "Let It Be," which, in my opinion, in the context of the album, the song is fine. But in terms of a Beatles hit, I don't love it. I don't love "Let It Be," but I get it.
Well, what's actually interesting is
It's the biggest song off the album, though.
Yeah, and you also had The Long and Winding Road, which was their last number one.
And Across the Universe.
Across the Universe, that was one of John's.
Used in the movie Across the Universe.
Yeah, or it was it was the title. It was it was the title of that film, which starred, I believe it was Evan and Rachel Wood. But I mean, there's some good gems on there, like George's "I Me Mine."
"I Me Mine" is
Blue,
cool.
I
Me Mine is cool.
Dig a Pony. I've always liked the raunchy guitar-driven bit of it.
So your top 3, what would you go?
Oh, I'd probably go. Don't mean to disparage.
Is this one?
I'd probably go.
You could say.
In any particular order, I'd probably go.
Okay.
Not in any particular order.
Okay.
Probably Let It Be, Across the Universe, and Two of Us, just because
Cool, yeah.
I like the single version of Get Back without all the extra talk. But
I would say just listen to it. Obviously, if you're a Beatles fan, don't skip it because you might find a gem or two on there. But me personally, I don't love it.
Wait, did I include The Long and Winding Road on that? All right.
Your top 3 you didn't, but you did mention the song.
All right.
It's a good Paul song.
Long and Winding Road might be a close one in there, but
Yeah.
I'd probably say Two of Us, Let It Be, and Two of Us, Let It Be, and Across the Universe.
I just don't think Two of Us changes a whole lot. Like it's got that same like na 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 like Two of Us. It's just like the kind of the same. Like,
it's kind of nice though.
I'm on my way home. It's just like kind of like the same.
It's kind of nice though in the sense that it's kind of like
It's the opener.
it's John and Paul kind of like through all the tumult and all the stuff that's going on with them. It kind of sounds like they're going back to the early days.
That is pretty cool. And yeah, if you're a fan of that, yeah, it's cool. All right, my number 11, which should have been last, but well, it was last for the longest time. Now it's not. Number 11, I do have Magical Mystery Tour. I've never loved this album. Now I will say I do have a top 3, but it's realistically just one song. Penny Lane is phenomenal. Penny Lane.
Love Penny Lane.
Penny Lane is a phenomenal song.
Probably my favorite song that Paul wrote. Beatles or
Paul
solo.
wrote. Wow. Okay. That's wow. I mean,
Paul wrote
it's good.
Penny Lane and John wrote Strawberry Fields. Who's on the other side.
Yeah, see the thing with Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane, well, those two songs are probably the songs you know off that album. Strawberry Fields, Forever, I've never really loved. My number 2 is Your Mother Should Know, great Paul song. And then number 3 is All You Need Is Love, because I like the horns.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think All You Need Is Love. That might be the biggest song that John wrote. But I think what you'll realize during the latter half of the '60s, as you progress more towards the end, that psychedelia was really starting to pick up. John and Paul, their writing was so much different. Paul was more contemporary. John was more psychedelic and acid. I mean, Paul would write Penny Lane. John would write Strawberry Fields. Paul would write Hello Goodbye. John would write I Am the Walrus.
Yes.
And I mean, you notice that, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that when we get to Revolver, because I did an entire show on my podcast about that.
Did. Oh, by the way, I will say one more thing. No mean to cut you off, but Magical Mystery Tour has my least favorite Beatles song of all time, Blue Jay Way.
Oh, I thought you said Flying, the instrumental.
No, because it's instrumental.
You know what's actually interesting is Blue Jay Way. That's a street in Los Angeles. I think it was an apartment or a house.
I despise the vocals.
It was in a house on Blue Jay Way where I believe Simon and Garfunkel recorded the backing track for Cecilia. Believe it or not. But I mean, as George songs go, Blue Jay Way is not necessarily my favorite.
No.
I mean, if I had to pick my favorites from that album,
one of three albums that has no Ringo song.
Yes.
Let It Be also one of them. So
Yes.
There you go. That's why they're at the bottom.
Yeah.
Ringo's just awesome. But yeah, not every Ringo song is good. I'll tell you my least favorite when we get to it. So your top three is that your 11?
Probably not. I would probably say.
What's your 11?
I would say my 11th would probably be. I might go with the first album, Please Please Me. Because,
Really?
Because it just kind of shows.
Wow.
It kind of just shows how green they are. I mean,
Sure.
there's some good songs on that album.
Sure.
And you look at the writers that they were covering. I mean, Burt Bacharach wrote one of the cover songs. Jerry Goffin and Carole King. So I mean, at least they had good taste in songwriters and all that
Covers,
stuff.
yeah. All
But
covers.
of course, obviously, Love Me Do, Please Please Me, and I feel like I've listened to the one with Ringo and
Boys.
Well, yeah, Boys, but Love Me Do, when they first recorded it, they recorded it with Ringo because they just brought him into the band, but George Martin didn't think he was up to snuff, and they decided to bring on a session musician named Andy White to fill in for Ringo on drums, and Ringo was just stuck hammering on a tambourine.
Tambourine, yeah.
I thought they should have released the original single version of that, but
Okay.
I saw her standing there. Anna, another good cover by the guy Arthur Alexander.
Arthur Alexander, yep.
Oldest, only songwriter to have his songs covered by the Beatles, the Stones, and Bob Dylan.
That's
among
crazy.
others.
That's a good track run.
And then Chains. That's kind of a fun one. I like the harmonica in there, but I think you just see the biggest reason you just see them. They're so green. You can tell it's their first album, and they're still trying to learn. George Martin, mind you, before he started producing the Beatles, let's just be honest, all he had done really are comedy records, and so they were all trying to learn together. Brian Epstein had no idea he had no managerial experience. He was a record shop owner, or the son of a record shop owner.
Yeah.
My top three from that album would probably be Please Please Me, because I've always loved that. Oh boy, I Saw Her Standing There, and then
Great opener.
Twist and Shout, the greatest one-take wonder in pop music history.
The last song they recorded because John's voice was destroyed.
Yes, they had to save it
the
for
last
the
song.
end.
Yeah, I'll get into the whole recording process of.
And we
of
can
that album.
touch more on Please Please Me when we get to you. When we get back to you.
Of course.
As we will with Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah. Number 10. Wow. So I just noticed something that the three albums that have no Ringo song this is totally intentional, that are at the bottom. Number 10, Hard Day's Night. Hard Day's Night. Once again, no Ringo song. This album, so it's very funny. I'll touch on this more, but their first two albums, almost half the songs are covers because they're still new. A Hard Day's Night has no covers. A Hard Day's Night, they're like, okay, we actually feel hungry to record music. We're going to make our own songs and have no covers.
John had so many. I mean, they were all, and that was such a John-dominated album. I think Paul only sang lead. I think Paul only sang lead on 3 songs on that album.
Their early stuff is kind of John heavy,
yes,
Help, Beatles for Sale, and you're like,
I Feel Fine. All those.
Yeah. So Hard Day's Night. So yeah, all original. My top 3. Number 3, Can't Buy Me Love. It's a hit. It's cool. You probably know two big songs off this album. Can't Buy Me Love, and of course the title track. My number 2, number 1. Number 2, If I Fell, insanely underrated. This song is incredible. And my number 1, I've had on repeat over the past week. My number 1 might be top 3 or 4 Paul song. Number 1, Things We Said Today.
I was I was wondering if you were going to go "And I Love Her," because I'll tell you what, Paul may have
Immaculate Paul song.
only had 3 songs, but he hit on all 3, and I think even though that was a John-dominated album, I think you could joke and say that could arguably have been John's solo debut album, because he had
You could have,
so
you could
many.
have, you could have.
But Paul hit the nail on the head with all 3 songs.
Things we said today. He has harmonies with himself. No one else, himself. He recorded like 3 tracks, and it's all him. Immaculate song. Immaculate song. Yeah, Hard Day's Night is fantastic.
Jeez, I was going to rank A Hard Day's Night probably somewhere down below, but I don't know if I...
Yeah. It is John heavy. If you prefer Paul over John like me, you might not like... John's cool, but like it's a very John album.
If I had to guess...
Number 2.
If I had to pick a 10th album, and this isn't easy.
No, it's not going to be.
I mean, I would have to say probably... I might have to go with Beatles for Sale, just because there were a lot of, but
good pick.
It's funny. My favorite Beatles song of all time is on Beatles for Sale, and that's 8 Days a Week. I've always been a
Really? Okay.
I've always been a fan of I've always been a fan of the opening, the fade in with the guitar intro.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of that. And then they also had some great covers of like Words of Love by Buddy Holly. They really did a great job with that. They did a great job with. I think George and Ringo, they did a great job with the 2 Carl Perkins covers. John Lennon, rock and roll music.
So I don't really want to say this because I want to, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say until I get to mine. But yeah. If you mention it, then that's fine. But yeah, you keep going.
Well, the other thing, and Babies in Black. It's funny you talk about If I Fell. Babies in Black and If I Fell. Those are John and Paul really. I mean, I think both of those songs they recorded their voices into one mic to emulate the Everly Brothers.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm a Loser was a song that, it was the beginning of John Lennon's Dylan phase, where Dylan was heavily inspired, his writing was heavily fueled by Bob
First
Dylan.
2 songs are kind of like a 1-2 punch of like really good stuff off that album.
Yeah.
No Reply, I'm a Loser, which is a pretty good to open the album. So yeah, your top 3. So 8 Days a Week's number 1.
8 Days a Week is number 1.
It's a good pick.
I'd probably say Every Little Thing. I like that one, and it's actually a rarity. John sang the song, but Paul actually wrote it. And then I'd probably go.
It's happened a few times.
And then I might have to go. I'm a Loser, because I've always liked the harmonica in there. But
it's a good chorus. Yeah.
It's so hard to choose just 3.
Yeah, that's fair.
And mind you, that's my number 10 album. So it's like.
Yeah. No. So where are we at? 9? We were at 9. Yes. Number 9. Beatles for Sale. Beatles for Sale. So here's the thing. So I'm gonna say what I wanted to say. So remember how I said that A Hard Day's Night. So what I said about A Hard Day's Night, how I said that there's no covers. Well, the thing was the Beatles were getting tired at this point, so they went back to covers for Beatles for Sale. Which you're gonna be like, why'd they do that? I don't know. Great question. They just got tired. I think Paul said like we were like, because they were like touring still, and this was like before the whole like disaster thing. We'll get into more of that when we get to Sgt. Pepper, but. Beatles for Sale. Number 3. I Don't Want to Spoil the Party. It's fun.
Another good one. That's
fun.
Out of 8 Days a Week.
Number 2, 8 Days a Week. Very good song. And my number 1 is also top 5 Paul song. Number 1 is I'll Follow the Sun.
Another great one.
Gorgeous
that's
song.
And that's an early one. I think that goes back to the Quarrymen days when Paul first wrote that one. So he kind of held that.
Very short song too.
Very short, but very gripping.
Here's the thing with the early albums is the early albums you're gonna notice that like we said the early albums are pretty much John albums. They're pretty much John heavy. So you're gonna notice that when you hear a Beatles album, and this is why they're so good, is you'll hear like 5 or 6 John songs all in a row. Pretty upbeat, pretty fun, whatever. And then in the middle of those 5 or 6 John songs, there's this beautiful Paul ballad that comes out of nowhere, and it's like, wow, like where'd this come from? And that's what I'll Follow the Sun does, because like there's like Kansas City, Hey 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 is before that.
Yeah, Little Richard.
All these John songs are like before, and all of a sudden you get this beautiful Paul ballad out of nowhere. So it's like, even the early albums where Paul didn't shine a whole lot, he really gave it his all when he was like, I get my chance.
I mean, he even had What You're Doing. That was another good one that he wrote. And I mean, again, he seldom. I think if you discount Babies in Black, which was a joint effort by John and Paul, and 8 Days a Week.
There's still a lot of covers though.
Yeah, I think I think Paul.
Not I'll Follow the Sun though.
I'll Follow the Sun and What You're Doing, I think, were the 2 main ones that he was able to write and sing, because
And Beatles for Sale has unfortunately my pick for probably the worst Ringo song. I Don't Love Honey Don't. I don't love Honey Don't. Sorry, Ringo. I mean, he didn't write except.
Well, in fairness,
write it, but-
he would be. I think he wouldn't blame you if you said Matchbox because he recorded Matchbox prior to Carl Perkins.
See, I've never heard like really any of the past masters. So I don't really know a whole lot, but I will eventually. But Honey Don't, just not really anything. It's the first album that we talked about that has a Ringo song. So I want to mention that Honey Don't is. Sorry, Ringo. That's all. You're 9.
All right, number 9. I'll probably go. Honestly, I think I'll just flip flop with you, and I'll go A Hard Day's Night. Because again,
Cool,
I think it
cool.
was. Because I think.
That's good, actually.
Again, I think
That's easier.
a bigger reason for. I think a big reason they saved up like 13 songs for that album.
Yeah, no covers.
And I think given that after recording the album, they had to make the film, they had to tour, they had to do all that. I mean, they were busy. I mean, they were being worked into the ground, and they needed a break, and covers.
Wow.
Covers were really something that they could use to help them. And a lot of the like I mentioned with Please Please Me earlier, is that a lot of those covers, that was the stuff they were playing in the cavern, so they knew it all by heart, and they didn't have to waste a crap load of time to rehearse and do all that, because it was basically their stage show.
Yeah. So.
But for A Hard Day's Night, I'll probably go obviously the title track.
Sure, that's fair. It's fun.
I should have known better, because I always like the train scene with I always like them on the train, and they play that in the John with the harmonica. And then I'll probably go with And I Love Her, because that's a great Paul. That's a great.
I just love Things We Said Today. I don't know why. That song's fantastic.
Oh, it is.
That song is actually awesome. So that was my 9. So now we're at 8. Okay. Number 8. Sticking with the early stuff. Number 8 with the Beatles. Their second album. Now here is my thing with the Beatles is, once again, covers. My thing I might touch on this now instead of Please Please Me, but for Please Please Me, obviously 6 of the songs are covers. The covers, since it's their debut album, the covers, you don't really know, like, I can't really tell they're covers unless you know, like, the OG song, obviously, but, like, with the Beatles, obviously, you probably, the covers they do with the Beatles, they sound like covers. You could tell they're like, okay, this is a cover. Like Roll Over Beethoven, obviously a Chuck Berry song. Or like, You Really Got a Hold on Me. Obviously that's like a...
Smokey Robinson.
Exactly. Like you could tell, like, Roll Over Beethoven, this is not an OG song. You could tell that the George song, You Don't Bother Me, whatever it is.
Don't Bother Me, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Mr. Postman, like that's not an OG. It's like... So that's my issue, is that I could tell they're covers on this album and not really Please Please Me, because like the sound's kind of similar. But with the Beatles, there are still pretty good songs. All I've Got to Do, pretty solid song. You Really Got a Hold on Me. I love George and Paul together. You don't see that a lot.
Actually, that's John and George, actually, believe it or not.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Paul's just the harmony guy. John's the higher voice. George is the lower, that's kind of like echoing it. I mean,
Good cover.
That's terrific.
And number 1, it's pretty obvious, All My Loving, probably the song we all know off that album. It's amazing. It's why. That's not a cover. It Won't Be Long is fine. I find it a little repetitive. I find it a tiny bit repetitive. It's an original, which is cool, but this is where I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting a little sick of the covers, really. But with the Beatles is, second album.
Then I'll probably go Magical Mystery Tour for mine.
Cool.
Because I think it's a...
Wow.
Well, I think it's because, the film, I think it's important to note that the film and the soundtrack are 2 entirely different animals. The thing that saves Magical Mystery Tour is the back end with the songs that were not in the film. Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields, they recorded those before Sgt. Pepper.
Penny Lane is phenomenal.
They put those 2 songs on there. All You Need Is Love wasn't in the film, but they put it in it. They had released it, but they had released it as a single the previous summer. Hello, Goodbye, and I Am the Walrus. I Am the Walrus made the cut for the film, but Hello, Goodbye didn't, and Hello, Goodbye was the bigger hit.
It's a cool, fun song.
And then you also, it's actually funny. Alan Clark, the frontman for the Hollies, because the Hollies and the Beatles recorded an EMI, and he gradually watched Paul compose Hello, Goodbye. And he's like, you can just make a song based on saying opposites together, back to back.
I guess
and,
so.
And that just floored Alan Clark. But for me, and then you also, the title track's pretty good, and then there's also the Fool on the Hill, and like you mentioned before with Your Mother Should Know, which, believe it or not, I think that was the last song they recorded before Brian Epstein passed away.
Oh, wow, really? Wow.
But so for me, it's Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields.
I think you have to, yeah.
And then I gotta go, as much as I want to say All You Need Is Love, because I think it's one of John's best songs. I think it's one of his biggest ones.
It's a little repetitive, though, a little bit, though.
And it's got a good meaning, but I will say that...
I like the horns.
Yeah, but I will say, I think it definitely is... I gotta go with The Fool on the Hill.
Okay.
Because it's such a pretty melody and all that stuff. And with the piccolos and stuff, I've always liked that.
It's definitely an album for like certain people, just not for me. If people want to talk about flying, I don't know what that is. That was instrumental. I don't know what flying is. Everyone calls it the worst song off the album. You can, because it's not really a song, but that's fine. All right, my number 7. Oh my god, everyone's gonna turn off this video. I'm so sorry for this. I listened to this album last night and was like, I really don't love the second half of this album. I really don't. And I know it's gonna be high for everyone. It's probably gonna be top 2 or 3 for everyone. But you're probably gonna not like this too. But I'm going Abbey Road.
Hey, to each his own. We live in a free country.
Seriously, Abbey Road. I don't know what this is. I don't love the second half. I don't. And I know the second half is like, it's supposed to be one big song. I get that. I'm not saying Abbey Road is bad. The first 6 songs are really good. Even though I think Come Together is a little overrated, still a good song. But you got, let's see what you got for Abbey Road. Maxwell Silver Hammer, great song, right? Obviously.
Great song,
amazing song.
Although the rest of the band hated it.
That is true. Here Comes the Sun, great George song. Amazing George song. Probably his second best and most known song. And number 1, Octopus Garden, my favorite Ringo song of all time, hands down. It is one of 2 songs he wrote, but it's my favorite Ringo song with his vocals. Octopus Garden is fun. It is a kid song. You could tell it's a kid song. You could definitely tell it's a kid song with the little, yeah.
Yeah, but who gives a damn?
Yeah,
you know?
Amazing song. And the story behind how he wrote that song is phenomenal.
Absolutely. He's on a yacht, or he's on a boat, and he orders squid, and...
I heard this on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's...
Go watch his Jimmy Kimmel interview. He'll tell you the story behind it. But yeah, Abbey Road, the second half, I Want You, She's So Heavy, long song, not many words. I don't love it. There's not many words.
I think Yoko helped John write that one, actually.
Which is why I hate Yoko. So that's probably why I don't like it. I'll get into her a little bit later. But no, the end, everyone likes to talk about how that song's not the end. I think the end should have ended it and not Her Majesty, because Abbey Road probably could have been their last album and ended it there. Yeah, the opening of the shim shim dum dum, it's like, that's cool how Come Together opens the album. But yeah, number 7 is Abbey Road, but it's still not a bad album because the first 6 songs are phenomenal. Yeah, and you could say Oh Darling's good. I don't love Oh Darling, but you could say Oh Darling's great. You could say Paul's vocals are great. They are.
Well, I'll save that. Well, I'll save that for when.
Because it'll be higher on your list for sure. Yeah.
When I get to Abbey Road, I'll probably go. But I might shock a few people. Let me see here. Let me see here.
7.
So we're at number 7.
Number 7.
Almost halfway through.
Yep.
I think I'm going to shock a lot of people with this one. Maybe not. I may not stun as many people as you just did right now, but I'll probably go with the White Album, actually.
Whoa!
Because, I think a lot of it, the White Album to me, double albums.
I get
double albums I've never really been a fan of, and I'll tell you what, a lot of
it is 30 songs.
There's so many that I think are I really think are album fillers. Like
sure.
You got your legendary songs.
To each their own. I disagree, but to each their own.
You've got your legendary songs like Back in the USSR, Obla Di Obla Da, Dear Prudence, While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
I'll get into that song.
Rocky Raccoon, Birthday, Your Blues.
I have so much to talk about the White Album when I get to it because it's much higher. So I'll let you just do this one.
So I'm gonna go basically my I've always it's Obla Di Obla Da is one of my favorites simply because I love how Paul McCartney, the perfectionist that he's always been throughout his entire life, he's trying to work it out just right. He can't get the opening part right.
He can't. That's true.
John goes out to smoke a doobie or do whatever, or
Which
for
they
all,
did.
or for all we know, this is back when heroin was a big thing. He was probably shooting himself in the.
Who knows?
But the biggest thing, but then he comes back. He comes back a few hours later. They're still working on it. He's stoned out of his mind. He's like, "Oh, for crying out loud, we're doing this, yeah."
Yeah.
And he's just banging on the keyboard.
That voice and all.
Banging on the piano, and Paul's like, "That's it, Chops." And you know, and it's interesting. You know, there were some songs on that album. Dear Prudence, Julia, Happiness is a Warm Gun. Those are John's songs. He actually learned those are they actually revolve around a particular picking pattern on the guitar that he learned from Donovan, the Scottish musician known for Sunshine Superman, Season of the Witch. And,
God, I want to say something so bad, but I can't. I'm waiting.
And everyone's favorite, and the song that names everyone's favorite sex toy, Mellow Yellow. But so I mean I'd have to go back in the USSR.
3
was
is
really
tough.
And I'll tell you what. Another thing about the White Album, you could tell the fracturing between the band was in there. I mean
The band hate each other when they recorded this album.
Ringo left for 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's not on the first few songs.
First 2 songs, yeah.
Yeah,
and,
it's a new drummer. Yeah, he left.
Actually, Paul played drums on those first 2.
He did. Yeah, he did.
I mean,
you could tell like if you're hearing the White Album and you're like, you know, their chemistry might be a tiny bit off. It's because it was. They weren't like friends like that. They weren't really.
And there were so many that Paul recorded Mother Nature's Son by himself. John recorded Julia by himself.
Yeah, you could tell they weren't happy with each other.
In fact, I think the only time the 4 of them actually got along was when George Harrison brought Eric Clapton in to play on While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
You know, what was it? It's a song off the White Album, but there was John's supergroup that never made an album, actually.
The Dirty Mac, Your Blues.
Yeah, John
Lennon, Mitch Mitchell from the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Keith Richards of the Stones, and then Eric Clapton from Cream.
Never made an album. Imagine if they did.
That was a one-off.
That'd be nuts.
One night.
Well, because George did do Traveling, that band, right?
Traveling Wilburys later in the 80s.
That was actually a band. But like if John just did that as a band, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Yeah. That's pretty cool though. Yeah. That's not as shocking as mine, but
I'd probably go my top 3 songs probably be oddly enough they're all McCartney songs.
That's fine. That's fair.
Which I mean I don't take any pleasure because I love While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I love Savoy Truffle, which George wrote to make fun of Eric Clapton's Sweet Tooth. I like Dear Prudence a lot. I like but you know back in the USSR,
Great opener.
Obla Di Obla Da.
Nice.
And I've always been a fan of the song Martha My Dear.
Very good top 3.
First heard it,
very good top 3.
My dad and I always loved that song.
Very good deep cut.
I love it.
Good deep cut. I like the notes in that song. My number 6, everyone's gonna be like, this is high. I know. Number 6, Please Me. I don't know why. This album is like a warm hug. The debut is so nice. It's such a amazing fun album. I love this. What a banger of a debut. Now I will say there are 4 songs off this album that I do think are a little filler. I'm not a huge fan of A Taste of Honey. I'm not a huge fan of P.S. I Love You. That could be a hot take. The song Please Me is fine. The top 3 Twist and Shout. Once again, I said last song they recorded. This is not a fun fact at all. Everyone knows this. This album was recorded in one 12-hour session.
With the exception of Love Me Do,
4 songs.
and Please Me, and their respective B-sides.
10 songs were recorded in 12 hours because they had to. That's all they had.
And John was sick that day, and I think George was even a little under the weather, but John was definitely noticeable. In fact, that's the reason they had to save Twist and Shout till the end.
Yeah.
All I can say about Please Me is thank God George Martin convinced them to speed up the tempo because originally that was supposed to be like a ballad. That was supposed to be like a Roy Orbison slow ballad.
And there's really no ballads like that. I mean, I guess you could say Misery maybe and maybe Please Me, but like number 2, Love Me Do. I love the harmonica. That's all John, by the way.
Yeah.
Harmonica's fantastic. And the harmonica ends, I think the last song they do is, Help or Rubber Soul. I think it's the last song.
The last one they used a harmonica on, period, I believe, was Rocky Raccoon on the White Album.
Really?
But I mean, the string of albums that they used it so frequently on, that ended at Beatles for Sale with I'm a Loser.
Yes. And number one favorite song off this album is Never Change, and Go to Him. Hands down. Had no clue that song was a cover until last year. Had no clue. Thought it was an OG. It's not.
Nope, Arthur Alexander.
Yep.
He wrote Anna. The Beatles covered it. He wrote You Better Move On. the Stones covered that. Sally Sue Brown, Bob Dylan covered it.
How was that like? How did he do that? That was
And then
fantastic.
there's another one, Every Day I Have to Cry. Ike and Tina covered that. A very young Bee Gees group covered that, and
Wow.
I think Dusty Springfield also had.
That's crazy.
They just never released them as a single.
Yeah. Amazing debut. And Boys, the first Ringo song, it is a cover. It's not the greatest Ringo song. It's fine, but it's all right. Do You Want to Know a Secret? The first George song,
One of two.
Chains, I forgot he wrote, but I no clue that it was. Sorry,
That was a
Sang.
Gotham
Sang.
King song, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I meant Sang. Do You Want to Know a Secret? Great George vocals. You get to hear early George, which is cool. You know, everyone loves. You know, there's people out there that have a soft spot for George.
Before he became a prolific songwriter and all that, absolutely.
Yeah, because once again, this is covers. But yeah, And I Go to Him, very, very good song. Yeah, and also Love Me Do. So that is my 6.
All right, I'm gonna probably go. I'll probably go with Help as
Okay.
my 6 because
Cool.
you know it's got a great song. It's got a great.
Help's great.
You know, obviously great song. Take It to Ride.
Great song
obviously was
too.
And you know the Carpenters made it completely turn that song upside down with a slower, more ballad-esque with like strings and soft piano.
Help is
but it was
also
interesting.
the last album to ever have covers. There's 2 covers on Help.
Yes, Act Naturally, which was a Buck Owens
The
song
Ringo
originally.
song.
That's Ringo, and Dizzy Miss Lizzy,
Correct.
a Larry Williams song, who John was a big fan of.
Correct.
But,
That's it.
you know,
Last ever covers.
I like a lot of the songs off that album that were in the film and all that stuff. Even on the other side, like, yeah, I mean, you think about Night Before, you Gotta Hide Your Love Away, another Bob Dylan-esque Lennon
For
song.
sure you can tell it's Bob Dylan, for sure.
George is finally dipping his toes back in the songwriter's pool with I Need You, and
Okay.
then on the back end you also got nice songs like he's also got a great song called You Like Me Too Much, and then you got Paul back to back with Tell Me What You See, I've Just Seen a Face, and then the
Granddaddy of them all.
Yesterday.
Man, I'll talk about more of that song. Help is cool. I mean,
And then I guess my top 3, Help, obviously, because that's just
John
a rocking
Lennon.
song.
John has said that is one of the 2 true Beatles songs.
That's his autobiography right there.
In his opinion,
In
is
a sense.
Help and one more.
Because that was a literal cry for help from John,
I think, yeah.
without question.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think
By the way, the album cover, they're not spelling help
no, they are not.
because they couldn't. They're doing like a flag, like the flag symbol or like the flag letters. But yeah, they're supposed to spell help, but they didn't. So I think it's like four random letters. It's not a word.
Yeah, but help is one.
Of course, you have to.
Help is number 1. Yesterday, because it's a great song to play on, because I do play guitar and it's one of my favorite songs to play on guitar.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to. Ticket to Ride's great, but
Yeah.
there was this song I did like. Another one of my favorites to play on the guitar probably would be You've Gotta Hide Your Love Away. Those would be my 3.
I like the vocals on that song. It's pretty cool. All right.
And you can feel the Dylan influence on that.
Of course. Oh yeah, definitely. Top 5. This is where it gets a little tough. Number 5, Revolver. If you asked me a year or 2 ago, this would have actually been lower, believe it or not. I always thought this album was overrated. I never knew the hype behind it, and I was like, no, it's pretty good. Revolver, this and Rubber Soul are the first Beatles albums where you're like, okay, they're actually like, this is like professional.
That's the
like,
beginning.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Revolver is great. Lot of very popular songs. Number 3, Eleanor Rigby, very solid song. I've always loved that song. Number 2, I'm Only Sleeping, very solid John song. I love the vocals on that. I love the different parts of that song. My favorite song, going back to me being a fan of the slow Paul songs, For No One. I adore For No One. I think For No One is fantastic. I love the what is it, like the French horn? Is that what it is?
Alan Seville, the French horn session player. They brought him
Amazing.
in. It was expensive, but hey, it worked. Honestly, when you said slow Paul song, I thought you were going to go with Here, There, and Everywhere, because I know that's a popular one.
Yeah.
In fact, that's Paul's favorite out of all of them.
Really?
I'll
Wow.
talk more about, because I've got plenty to say about Revolver
Yes.
later on, but I think I would probably go, where are we at, number 5?
Yes, 5. Yep.
With the Beatles, because I've always been a fan
Okay,
of it. Because
interesting.
because say what you want about the covers. The covers those are probably I like a lot of the originals, like All I Gotta Do.
Exactly.
It won't be
All My Loving's
it
great.
won't be long. All My Loving.
All My Loving's great.
You know, Don't Bother Me. Paul did a great job with Till There. You know, obviously Till There Was You. I think it took an even bigger.
Was that is that the Broadway sounding song?
Yes, it was from Music Man. And
Okay, cool. So I was like, because I was like, this song sounds like a musical.
And I like how they were able to change it from like an acoustic ballad to really give it more of a kind of like an electrical theme when they played it both at the Royal Variety Performance and again on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah.
But I mean, Please Mr. Postman, You Really Got a Hold on Me, Money, dipping into the Motown catalog, which, you know, Brian Epstein, he gave Berry Gordy an ultimatum, or he gave a deal and an ultimatum to accept an offer to have the Beatles record those, and Berry Gordy almost said no. And he changed his mind at the last hour, and what a great decision that was for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Please Mr. Postman, I think is my favorite.
Great cover.
I think it's my favorite cover. I think it beats Twist and Shout. If I'm being
As the best cover? That's
at least in my
fair.
in my eyes.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, and then You Really Got a Hold on Me.
Amazing
you know,
cover.
George and John really, and you know, George eventually would write a song called. George was a big fan of Smokey Robinson, and he would write a song in his solo career called Pure Smokey, as paying homage to one of his heroes.
Cool.
And so, I mean, I would probably say so. Top 3 songs: Please Mr. Postman, You Really Got a Hold on Me, and then All My Loving, because you know that's obviously their best original. But I mean,
quick one.
John had a lot of great. John, again, you know, John was still the dominant force back then.
Oh yeah, big time.
And you know, again, we're gonna talk about that when we get probably like Revolver, Rubber Soul.
Should we talk about the Ringo song?
Yeah, I want to be your man. That was
It's
a song
fine.
they kept.
It's fine.
It's good.
It's
and
fine.
The Stones eventually
Not his
turned it
best
into their
song, but yeah, it's fine.
second hit. Although what's interesting is he was supposed to originally sing a song called Little Child,
Oh yeah,
which-
Little Child. Yeah.
which they
yeah.
even Paul, who's not very quick to judge harshly one of his songs, even Paul hated that song.
Yeah, Paul hated a few songs he did, and so did John. But
Although John was much more vocal and he had a much longer list.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I just don't like. Once again, I said like I just think the covers sound too obvious that they're covers, and if they were trying to do that, then then cool, then I get it. But like, I'm saying like, please me. I think they hit it better because they were so new. Because like, Please Mr. Postman, it's like you could tell like that's not their song. Roll Over Beethoven, you could tell that's Chuck Berry in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
You Really Got a Hold on Me, you could tell that's Smokey in a heartbeat. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I have. So what are we at here? We are at 4. Okay.
Almost there.
Number 4, Rubber Soul. Great. Rubber Soul's awesome. This is definitely the start for me. I know I said that I like Revolver, but Rubber Soul is the start for me. I think in terms of the highs on this album, I think this has some of the highest highs any Beatles album has. My top 3 for this album are actually stacked. In My Life, which is one of a fan favorite of John's songs. Amazing song. I love Girl, probably top 3 John song for me. Girl is phenomenal. I love the chorus. I love how it sounds like it's like trending downhill a little bit as he keeps singing it.
Really see a sentimental side of John Lennon on that album.
Absolutely. And number 1, probably my favorite Paul song of all time, Michelle.
Yes.
Yes. I know French because of that song. The one line. That's it. That's all I know in French. Sunday mon qui ventrait bien ensemble. That's it.
And you know, I think that was partially you know, believe it or not, Michelle, I believe, was the only song that the Beatles released that won them a Grammy for Song of the Year.
Really?
And it was an album, and it was basically an album.
Would you look at that?
That's the weird thing. There's so many great songs on that album that I think
good.
if they released album like, you know, Day Tripper and We Can Work It Out were recorded during those sessions, and they never released, and they never released singles on albums, or they seldom did. Largely because they didn't want to.
For example, take one of their biggest songs. For example, take Paperback Writer, not on an album.
Nope.
And that's one of their biggest songs.
But they didn't want to make their fans pay twice to hear the same song, which I can get it. It's a fan friendly policy. But I'll tell you what, if you're a average Beatles listener and you don't really like go in depth, if you just listen to the one album with all the number ones on it, you miss out on you miss out on all the great album tracks that probably would have charted super high, probably could have topped the charts.
It's crazy how like you would think like, oh, like some singles are probably getting less streams or like less recognition than like album songs if you're an album listener. But like if you look at their singles, look at how many songs are on albums. Look at Hey Jude, probably their biggest song. Look at I Want to Hold Your Hand, not on an album. Like these are huge songs.
Hey Jude, it would have been on. Hey Jude, it would have been on
probably,
the White Album.
Probably White Album.
And then Revolution was on the other side of that, and
the other Revolution. Yeah.
Revolution 1 was actually the original, and then they decided to speed it up and add a little metal to it, or
yeah. I mean,
what would have been what we would now constitute as heavy metal.
I mean, Rubber Soul. I mean, Drive My Car is a cool song. I just kind of got sick. I kind of got sick of it. I've heard that song too many times. Love Norwegian Wood. Great second song.
Another. Actually, we talked about the
instrumental's so good.
Well, I'll talk about that when I get to Rubber Soul.
Yeah. What else we got here? What Goes On? Not the greatest Ringo song in my opinion, but it's cool.
But but I think it is pure Ringo. It's the first time he got a songwriting credit on it, and Ringo showing his country roots and
it definitely
his country love.
His
love for
it definitely sounds different. And then I'll talk about the song now. Sure. What do you think about Run for Your Life? Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. Yes, that is John's least favorite Beatles song. He said that song was like garbage and it was a filler. But George Harrison has said that that's his favorite song off the album. What's with that, George? I don't know. The song is obviously lyrically it's awful. It's talking about killing a girl if she's with another man. But I think it sounds kind of fun. That it's a guilty pleasure. But the song obviously isn't that good. I feel like it's kind of a troll because that song is the closer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
All right, for me, number 4 would be probably this might shock some people. I'm gonna probably have to go with Pepper.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to go with Sgt. Pepper.
Wow.
Largely because I gained a whole new level of respect for the next album.
First 3.
For the album that I put at 3.
Okay.
And
okay.
But going back to Pepper, obviously it's a groundbreaking album.
Yes.
I mean, it is unlike anything we'd ever heard. It's like Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys is what inspired Sgt. Pepper, and Pet Sounds really, and Pepper was Pet Sounds times 1,000. I mean, it was almost like, Bruce Johnson, he was terrific bringing Pet Sounds over to England and kind of marketing it and showing it to John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Little did he know that he would make Paul McCartney's juices bubble to the point where it's like, okay, Brian, if it's war you want, it's war you got.
Yeah, no, seriously.
But I mean, Pepper, it's terrific. The beginning with the title track and with a little help, which I've never been a fan of the Cocker version of that. To me, I've always liked the Beatles version, Ringo's version, and I think it was written for Ringo in particular. Lucy in the Sky. Great song, John, yeah. Acid John at his best. And the thing I like the most about it is because the squares, the goofy squares that always try to pinpoint every little detail. It's like LSD is like, yeah. Man, you got way too much time on your hands. Getting better. Paul really showing his classical side that he started showing on Revolver with the harpsichord on Fixing a Hole, and then really the whole string section on She's Leaving Home, which he actually wrote for a young girl who just a few years prior appeared with the Beatles, with Paul in particular, on a television show as a background extra. But obviously, and just where some of these songs came from, like John being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, John got that from a carnival poster.
I can't say much about this album. One
of George's best songs, I think, and one of his most underappreciated songs, "Within You, Without You." That's terrific. The Indian instrumentation in there. When I'm 64, it's a favorite, and then eventually, you jump all the way to A Day in the Life. It's there's so many people that say that's the greatest Beatles recording they ever did. You got some people that actually say that, and the way that, and you watch the documentaries that go in depth about that time. They explain how they explained how they wanted it done and what they were going to do, and it was really interesting how they just
That is pretty shocking.
They build it up. Everyone plays the same.
Oh, it's not top three.
The same key. They play the same scale at different pace at a different pace, and just gradually builds up to boom, and then they just let it fade out.
Kind of a story behind every song off this album, and mainly every song they have in their discography. It's very beautiful.
So for me, I mean, I can't put Sgt. Pepper with a little help from my friends, so I'm going to combine the two as being one.
Okay, sure.
A Day in the Life.
I'll allow that.
And then probably Getting Better.
That's cool. That's great as well. That's cool though.
But
number 4.
That's
wow.
really, actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm going to go. My top 3 would be, and again, Day in the Life is still in there. Getting Better, and then She's Leaving Home is just absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
I can't leave that one out.
Okay. All right, my number three, Help. I know, 3. This album is so fun. This album is very fun. I know I said that Rubber Soul might have the highest highs. I think Help's their most fun album, in my opinion. Help is great. My number 3, Help. Awesome song. Love the opener. I love how John says that's like one of the few songs that he's extremely proud of. Number 2, The Night Before. Love those vocals. Vocals are phenomenal. Amazing. And then number 1, probably top 5 Beatles song of all time for me. Number 1 is Yesterday. One of the most gorgeous songs you'll ever hear. That song is literally all Paul. No one else. Like, just him and a guitar. That's it. Once again, going back to where, like, you hear, like, 5 or 6 John songs in a row, and then you get, like, that random Paul song in the middle. Even though it's at the very end of the album. But, yeah.
You hate to admit it, but, in the early days, it really was the Beatles. It really was John Lennon.
It kind of was.
It really was John Lennon's Beatles, and yet
it kind of was. But
it
Yesterday,
felt like Paul. Even if he had fewer songs, it always felt like Paul stuck the landing more with his.
Absolutely, songs. I agree. I feel like that made him work hard. Even though Paul and John were mainly writing songs together, but like I feel like that made him that struck a nerve in him where it's like I have few songs. Let's just like
save the best for
exactly.
It's like. Well, I gotta,
because
I think that's how much respect he had for John, is the fact that he viewed John as bringing in nothing but great songs, and Paul felt like I could never write as many great songs as John could, so I'm gonna just bring in.
I feel like we have both their magnum opuses. I feel like we have Paul's number 1 song and John's favorite song that he ever made, which was Help. But no, it's like you wouldn't expect a song like Yesterday to be on any album, or in this case, Help, because I said Help is a very fun album. It's a very upbeat album. Once again, you have songs like, The Night Before, Help, Act Naturally. It's a fun Ringo song. I know it's not his, but it's a fun Ringo song, whatever.
And again, showing his country roots. Or his
I've just seen a face.
Yep.
Great song. And then you wouldn't expect Yesterday. That should be the closer, not Dizzy Miss Lizzy. Because I feel like that's kind of a lazy cover. I would say Yesterday should be but that would have been a risk though. They would have taken that risk, and that would have been a risk worth taking if they made Yesterday the closer. I'm not sure how that would go well with fans at the time, but if Yesterday was the closer, who knows?
Well, I think at the time George Martin actually asked Brian Epstein, should we release Yesterday as a Paul McCartney solo single, and Epstein was like,
it is,
absolutely not.
It is though. It is just his song though. Like you can't give credit to anyone on that.
All right, number 3 for me, I'm gonna go with Revolver. And
that's fair.
I went. A lot of why I picked Revolver over Pepper would be because Revolver is, I don't think it's their best album, but I think it's their most important album because Revolver, Revolver literally, it's practically in the if you include Magical Mystery Tour and Yellow Submarine, or if you include like Past Masters and stuff like that, ultimately it's like 14 albums. Revolver is number 7 in the lineup, and
it is.
To me, it's just like it's perfect. They're 14 songs.
Yeah.
3 are George, 3 are written by George. 1 was sung by Ringo. The other 10, John and Paul evenly split, and neither of them sounded the same. Like you listen to Paul, you listen like to Eleanor Rigby, Good Day Sunshine, Here, There, and Everywhere, Got to Get You Into My Life, and For No One. Paul is just.
It's so funny how you talk about, like George having 3 songs. Most polarizing one, Taxman.
Mm-hmm.
which is a very political song.
And he's showing his early Indian chops with "Love You Too,"
Love
and
You
of
Too.
course I want to tell you that's always been one of my favorite Harrison songs. But the
Okay,
biggest one, but you think about Paul, he was much more contemporary. He was much more pop oriented.
I love For No One though.
Yeah.
I love For No One.
Good Day Sunshine, kind of like vaudevillian, and it was based loosely off of the Love and Spoonful song Daydream. Got to Get You Into My Life. That was heavily influenced by the sounds of both Motown, because Paul had seen Stevie Wonder perform just a few months prior, and he was also a big fan of Stax, the Stax artists down in Memphis. Otis Redding, Sam and Dave, Carla Thomas, all of them. In fact, I think they were actually planning on going to Stax to record that album, but they decided they couldn't afford it, and they decided to stay at Abbey. They decided to stay at Abbey Road.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, but you look at John's songs. I mean, I'm Only Sleeping.
Great song.
She Said, She Said.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Birkin sing Dr. Robert and Tomorrow Never Knows. I mean that is psychedelic acid John Lennon at his.
Yeah.
I mean, that stretch from Revolver to Magical Mystery Tour, when he had songs like, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, I Am the Walrus, Strawberry Fields, I'm Only Sleeping, She Said, Tomorrow Never Knows was the first song that they recorded for that album. Hell, Rain, before the single that was recorded, it was the B-side of Paperback Writer that was recorded during Revolver. John's playing his vocals in reverse. Tomorrow Never Knows, the first song they recorded for the album. Jeff Emmerich, their new engineer, decided to throw John's voice through a Leslie speaker. I'm Only Sleeping, backwards guitar solo. They put the tape reel in. They did it with John's voice on Rain, and John wanted to try it with George's lead guitar, and they did that, and then George redubbed it in real time, and that's how they created it. At least that's how I understand it. Granted, they were stoned out of their mind, and there's plenty of stories that go along with it.
Yeah.
And then of all the places you find a children's song, it's on that album.
So Yellow Submarine and Octopus Garden, two Ringo songs. They are two children's songs. You can definitely tell they're kids' songs. Octopus Garden hides it. It doesn't hide it because the melody is, but Yellow Submarine is very kiddish.
And I think Octopus's Garden, I think he actually turned that into a.
I think it's a book.
He turned it into a book.
I think it's a book. I think it's a book. Yellow Submarine is very iconic. If you like it, I don't blame you. It's a very, very popular song. I've heard so much of their music that I'm kind of over that song now.
We're not here to judge, to each his own.
No, exactly. It's a very kiddish song. It's a very kiddish song. But I'm glad they gave it to Ringo. Does it sound like it should be on that album? I'm not sure.
Much less a number one single.
Yeah, because there's a whole movie, and the movie is interesting. But yeah.
Well, then, so I mean, if I had to guess, I would say probably, but like I said, Revolver is probably their most important album because it jump started. They swithed from Rubber Soul, that was kind of like their magnum opus when it comes to their folk rock sound.
Yes.
Revolver was really where they started to put it together and really go into, and it was really a foreshadowing of just what they would do the remainder of the 60s.
Absolutely.
And like I said, again, John and Paul evenly split, same number of vocal spots. They didn't.
Is true.
They weren't writing. They weren't really writing together.
It's crazy.
And the songs are not comparable.
Yeah, they're not.
They may say Lennon and McCartney, but you know which one's Lennon, which one's McCartney.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's crazy how a song like For No One is on the same album as Yellow Submarine. It's interesting.
Hey, they had a wide spectrum.
Yeah, they did.
All right, top 3 songs. Probably go.
Taxman is their only political song.
Revolution.
Okay. The Taxman's huge and it's cool how they gave George the opener.
It's the only song where George leads off. It's the only song or the only album where George leads off. In fact, Paul actually is the one that plays the. Another thing about Revolver and about Help and Rubber Soul, Paul was really beginning to assert himself as the major creative force, because he was playing rhythm guitar, either in lieu of Lennon or in tandem with him. Lead guitar, either in tandem with Harrison or in lieu of him. But so I'll probably go. I've always liked She Said, She Said.
Okay.
John wrote that after Peter Fonda told him how he accidentally shot himself and he was revived. So, and he told John that he knew what it was like to be dead. He told him that story on acid, by the way.
Okay.
So, She Said's always been a favorite. Probably second, I would go, I've always liked And Your Bird Can Sing, and then, oh man. Oh my
I do like Dr. Robert. I didn't mention that. I do like Dr. Robert.
Again, this is why, you could make your favorite, because they're so different. It's kind of hard to pick
It is.
three among the. You can pick three of Lennon's favorites, three Lennon favorites, three McCartney favorites. Heck, even on that album, you could do three Harrison favorites. Even though it'd be kind of set in stone for you.
Yeah.
So She Said, And Your Bird Can Sing, and then I'll probably go with Here, There, and Everywhere.
Okay. What does George have? Taxman?
Love You Too, and I Want to Tell You.
Okay, cool. My number 2, I'll explain this. The White Album. My number 2. For a 30-song album, I don't think there's much mid. Or you could argue there's filler because obviously the second half, but I don't think there's any really low spots for me. Yes, it's a long album, but this album is so fun. And once again, you could tell that the chemistry might be a little off because they weren't really the happiest around each other. It's two sides. My number 3, you could argue this is George's best song. I think well, he's dead, but I think if you asked George, he'd probably say this is his favorite. While My Guitar Gently Weeps is probably the most popular George song. Here Comes the Sun is a close second. Everyone. I'm really happy how George made that song. Although I will say I prefer the Tom Petty cover better. Tom Petty and Prince.
You're talking about the one at the 2004 at the Rock Hall.
I prefer that, yeah, because
Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne, Steve Winwood, Prince.
Prince's guitar solo is one of the greatest things I've ever heard.
Legend has it that guitar still hasn't come down.
Well, if you watch the video of that performance, you don't see Prince at all during the entire performance. And then when that guitar solo, you just see a spotlight, boom, Prince is there. And you're like, where did he come from? Oh my gosh. That's kind of how Prince performed, though. No one knew where he was.
You talk about an ensemble performance. You got Danny Harrison, his son on there. You got Prince, you've got Steve Winwood, you've got Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne.
Of Yellow.
You talk about an ensemble performance.
Yes.
Although I got to admit.
But George is still great, though.
They did a great, I tell you what, the concert for George, that was a great version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. It was Eric Clapton, Jeff Lynne, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Billy Preston. That was also a really good one. Eric, Paul, and Ringo basically reprised their roles on the respective recording. Paul on piano, Ringo on drums, and Eric on lead guitar, because George brought him in to kind of smooth over the tensions, or soothe the tensions. Number 2, it's hard not to, once again, I keep going back to Paul. It is Blackbird. Once again, a full-on, just beautiful Paul song. If you want to learn acoustic guitar, I'd probably start with this song or something close to it. It's probably not the hardest song to play. It's a very popular acoustic guitar song, though. It is if you've got the hand-eye and the finger coordination, you'll be. Then Blackbird, you should have very minimal problems. It's a very simple picking pattern, and it goes all the way through the end. Exactly, and also very, very easy song. Number 1, not even close. Helter Skelter, the first heavy metal song. You could argue they say that. They say it's the first heavy metal song. I love the aggression. As soon as that first guitar, it's awesome. But no, you've also mentioned, Back in the USSR is a great opener, also kind of a heavy song. Martha, My Dear. Birthday to me is very nostalgic because when I was in 2nd grade, when there was a birthday, our teacher would play that, so I know Birthday really well. It's kind of a fun little song. Well, you mentioned songs like Blackbird, and you mentioned songs like Helter Skelter. I didn't mention them when I was talking about the White Album, but they're still there. They're still absolutely. Blackbird is probably, Blackbird's a huge fan favorite. Blackbird is easily top 5. Huge fan favorite. Yeah, huge fan favorite. From the Beatles and all that, and then obviously Helter Skelter. Hey, the song didn't kill anyone. The idiot with the swastika tattoo who misinterpreted it is the one that led that tribe. That kill spree. Julia, which is Paul's favorite John song. That's John, and he used the Donovan finger picking pattern on that because. It's Paul said that it's his favorite song that John made. That song is fine. Don't Pass Me By, the first Ringo's first attempt at songwriting. The first Ringo song that he wrote. He's also on Good Night, which is a fine outro. That's John's lullaby to his son Julian, and he had Ringo record it. Yep. Which I love how they did that. Revolution 9.
is something. It's great. I love Revolution 9. It's awesome. It's something though. It's
You're
not
definitely
for
in the minority.
it's not for everyone. I don't know. It's not for everyone. But it's something that they did.
If you like sound collages, Revolution 9 is your jam.
Or just listen to Pink Floyd. I don't know. Happiness is a Warm Gun. Cool song. I like how the chorus sounds different than the verses. You got the do 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 from I think John.
Given what happened to John, it's really kind of ironic, or the irony of that song.
Oh God. Yeah. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that's something to point out.
But he was dealing with that was one of a couple of songs on that
didn't
album
think
that
of
dealt with
that.
his heroin addiction, where he addressed it.
You mentioned Oba Di Oba Da. Very fun song. That song is interesting. They had no clue how to start the song, as you said. Revolution 1, a far more normal song than 9.
And it's cool. It's
cool. It's cool.
It's a cool one. You got songs like Sexy Sadie, and you got songs
Sexy
like
Sadie. Rocky Raccoon is probably my favorite joke song on the entire album because there's songs like Pigs.
Piggies. Yeah.
Yep. Why Don't We Do It in the Road? Which is actually the story behind that song is something. Is something. Do you know it? It's like Paul found something. Yeah.
Found a guy.
Yeah. That's all. What else we got on that album? I'm trying to remember. It's long. Sexy Sadie.
You want to talk about another good Paul acoustic ballad? It's I Will.
Yep.
Another good one.
Bungalow Bill is an interesting song.
Get Yoko's screechy voices off of that.
Thank you. Yoko ruins that song. Yes, I know she has one line and one line only, but terrible voice. I'm sorry. And that's kind of the main reason why they hate each other is because Yoko was in the studio a lot during the White Album recording, and Paul or George, they weren't feeling that. Once again, Ringo left, at the beginning. He came back.
Yoko would be a constant presence for the rest of their time together. In fact, I think during Abbey Road, when John and Yoko were in a car accident, John actually had a bed installed at Abbey Road where she would stay and she would supervise.
Yeah. I do think Yoko does ruin that song. There's another Yoko's on another song too. I forget what it is. She has a line.
You hear her on Birthday in the background.
Oh, okay. I wasn't thinking that, but yeah. But no, I love.
And you also hear her on Revolution 9.
I do love Rocky Raccoon. But yeah. Number 2 is the White Album. Great.
Number 2 for me, it's Abbey Road.
That's fair.
Abbey Road
that's
probably
the most correct opinion.
Probably because Abbey Road is one of my it has always been one of my favorites.
It's great. It's awesome.
Think, take my personal opinion out of it. If I didn't have such a love for my top album, Abbey Road is hands down number 1 in my mind. Just because and I think I don't split up the melody or the medley. I include it all as one, and it's really it's something that I really find terrific. I think that's the only way you can really appreciate it.
I don't hate all the medley. Me, Mr. Mustard is cool. Mm-hmm. She came through
Pam. She came through the bathroom window. Another song that Joe Cocker covered.
Cool.
Really, but it's you can kind of split the medley from "You Never Give Me Your Money" to "She Came Through the Bathroom Window" to the final 3.
The end.
"Golden Slumbers," "Carry That Weight," in the end.
In the end.
But the first "Come Together," great song.
Yep.
Another one of John being somewhat political. Got in big trouble with Chuck Berry because I
think I knew that. Yeah.
Because they thought he plagiarized it, and and Paul even said, "This is Chuck Berry. You gotta change it." So what they did was they actually slowed it down and gave it much more of a swampy feeling, kind of like something you hear out of Creedence or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But didn't work, but they settled all that out, and it still was a big hit.
Huge hit.
George had the best songs on that album.
Here Comes the Sun.
If you split up the medley,
is great.
If you split up the medley, George has got the best 2 solo songs on the album. And Here Comes the Sun. I mean, that's a song that's
what a beautiful song.
And it's really not. I mean, it's gotten me out of so many dark times and all that stuff.
It would definitely do that.
And
it's such a happy song.
Oh Darling's a really bluesy, really good bluesy number. And let's also not forget Something was on that album, another George song.
Yeah, so Something is cool. I like parts of Something, but I don't love all of it. I do love the guitar at the very beginning, the bow 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 bow, and then I like the don't wanna leave. It's cool.
Maxwell Silverhammer, that's a fun
song.
I love the instrumental. The lyrics, I get the
but
the melody and the music. That I've always liked that about Maxwell, and then
Octopus Garden.
Octopus's Garden.
Ringo's
Love
best
that
song, in
one.
my opinion.
Absolutely.
Is that your favorite Ringo song?
Probably that or
Yeah.
Photograph.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think and that's
It kind of has to be because that song's full Ringo because he wrote it. Like
George helped him with it, but
other Ringo songs he didn't really write except for "Don't Pass Me By."
it's but the thing is, I think but not a fan of "I Want You, She's So Heavy" because it's a good song. You got the triple tracked harmonies, the three of them,
That's
Lennon,
fair.
Harrison, and McCartney together, and it's a really good one. "You Never Give Me Your Money." It's a great song to start the medley because you're gonna go all over the place. You're gonna go in all sorts of different directions. It's really a great one. But if I had to go, I would say, not in any particular order, medley.
Okay. Wow.
Here Comes the Sun.
Yep.
And probably Octopus's Garden.
Yeah, Octopus Garden is awesome. I love it. But yeah, I think the first half is just I mean.
Here Comes the Sun would probably be number one though in that.
Yeah, I mean that song is like
Here Comes the Sun, the medley, and Octopus's Garden.
One of the happiest songs. One of the happy songs over here. It's so funny how they definitely do this on purpose. But I want you, she's so heavy. Is a very harsh ending. It's a very loud song, and then there's 5 seconds of silence, which John did on purpose. And then Here Comes the Sun. You hear the boom, boom, boom. And you're like, what is that transition? It's awful, but it's also great.
It works.
It does work. And my number one should be, well, you'll be surprised because I've never talked about this album. Number one is Sgt. Pepper. This album is fantastic. This album is literally almost a masterpiece. There are every song with 2 songs I don't love. I know you like it. I don't like Within You Without You. I get it's just not for me. But sorry, George. And then I think the chorus of Good Morning is a little annoying. I think the chorus is it goes on too long.
Yeah, I believe it.
But besides that, this album is absolutely phenomenal. The Benefit of Mr. Kite, great song. And like I said before, how a lot of albums are John heavy. This album is Paul heavy.
This is the first album after Revolver, and it's the first album where Paul really asserts himself as the
huge Paul heavy. But
creative force.
John and Paul do the exact opposite. When I said like all the albums where like you hear five or six John songs and then there's that random Paul song, this is the opposite. Because every now and then you'll hear 5 or 6 Paul songs, and then boom, A Day in the Life. And I know you're talking about it momentarily, but I do think A Day in the Life is their best song. I do think, yeah, very popular opinion. I get it, but A Day in the Life is, you could argue that's like top 100 song of all time. People do think it is one of the best songs ever made,
Absolutely.
which is fair. I think it's actually 2 songs. I think John and Paul.
Yeah, they combined 2 different songs. Yeah.
I think John and Paul had no clue how to end the 2 songs. I think Paul was getting stuck on his wake up.
Yeah, I mean Paul had the middle 8. John had basically an entire song minus a middle 8. Paul had a middle 8 minus the rest of a song. I do love the loud build up, the loud screeching build up before you get to the Paul part, and then you hear John's fading yell, and then it gets back to John's part. Day in the Life, absolutely phenomenal. I do think it is my favorite John song, not even close. With a little help of my friends, one of the best Ringo songs. That song, I could not picture anyone else singing but Ringo. It's one of those songs where it's like, you can't picture anyone else singing Octopus Garden. That is a Ringo song. This song, With the Help of My Friends, I can't picture anyone else singing it. It is a Ringo song. Fantastic Ringo song. I have seen videos of him playing this live, and he still looks like he still has fun singing this song. Even though there's background vocals from other Beatles, the Do You Me, yeah, that's also great. But people have a really soft spot for Lovely Rita. People like Fixing a Hole. Mm-hmm.
People, Getting Better is a great song. The third verse is something, but yeah.
Yeah, with the tambura and all the kind of Indian vibes that George kind of adds to it with the tambura and all that.
Was this after the trip to India? The trip to India? Yeah,
yes.
The huge big trip to India,
George went to India first.
Yeah.
After they stopped touring, John went to go do the movie. Ringo went in there with him, and then George went to India and really learned under Ravi Shankar. The big trip where they went with the Maharishi was about a year later.
It was supposed to be 14 weeks, but none of them stayed the 14 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we can't mention Sgt. Pepper because I think I don't think either of us have mentioned it, and we'd be remiss. We talked about Sgt. Pepper and not mention When I'm 64.
Yeah, that's a cool Paul song. That's cool. That's a cool Paul song. It's fun.
All right, number one for me, it's Rubber Soul.
Great pick. Awesome pick.
I mean, Rubber Soul. It's
got some of the highest highs.
It's John's final. It's this final John Dominance album, and it's really it's basically it's basically their final project of their folk rock days, of their folk rock. You know, John had.
This is some of John's best work. In My Life.
My Life, Girl, Norwegian Wood, which.
Yeah.
You know, John took a page, you know, John was copying Dylan. Well, Norwegian Wood inspired a Dylan song called Fourth Time Around.
Okay.
So Dylan kind of returned the favor a little bit. And then, of course, Drive My Car, always a fun one, song. George had a couple of good songs, especially If I Needed Someone, with the Rickenbacker 12-string. I like What Goes On, Michelle, which really good. You know, Morris Gibb, the bassist for the Bee Gees, he was a big McCartney freak growing up, and when he was learning to play bass, he would listen to Michelle a lot, and he would really try to play that just like McCartney. And then there's also
Wait.
Yeah, that kind of a hidden gem. I'm Looking Through You, another Nowhere Man, which I think was their first song that had nothing to do with love. And then the other song that I think that goes totally under the radar is You Won't See Me. That's a really great one. That's a really great one, and I love Paul's melodic bass playing on that. You know, he really. You know, you listen to the bass. You just listen to the bass alone. It's like something straight out of Motown.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I'd have to go In My Life, You Won't See Me, and probably Michelle.
In My Life is just so good. I mean, all these songs. Like as soon as you hear like the opening note, you're like, this is so good. Like. Michelle, like that guitar at the beginning is amazing, and yeah, I love how they really gave each other like their own songs. Like obviously, like We'll Go Back to Sgt. Pepper, but like with the help of my friends, it's like yes, other Beatles are on it, but while Ringo doing the main vocals, but like you take a look at like Yesterday or like Michelle, like that's full on Paul. Like that's just Paul doing his thing. I didn't mention Sgt. Pepper, but Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, once again, Paul album, John song. So every now and then John sticks out, which I think they're very good at. I think Paul doing that with John heavy albums, I think it was a good change of pace of okay, this is a Paul album. John can like stick out every now and then, which he did with A Day in the Life. So even though it's a Paul album and I'm a huge Paul fan, I think John had the best song off the album, which is kind of ironic.
And I think it's partially, I think part of the reason why Paul really asserted himself ahead of everyone else was, I think he was the most musically proficient out of the four, and then also, you know, I think John just started to lose interest after the mid-'60s, especially after he met Yoko. You know, Ringo always praises Paul for being the workaholic out of all of them. He's like, come on, lads, we got some songs. He's like, Ringo openly says, if it wasn't for Paul, their output during the latter half of the '60s would have been very minimal.
I think you did mention this, but Rubber Soul, for Ringo, I don't love What Goes On. I don't hate it. It's a fine song. It's once again, it is different. It's pretty catchy, but I like other Ringo songs better. Octopus Garden being one.
I'd put Octopus Garden ahead of What Goes On and all that.
Yeah.
With a little help and Yellow Submarine.
Octopus Garden with a little help, and then 3. I might actually go. I don't know if I could do Act Naturally because that's not his song. But Act Naturally is very good, but that's not his song. But yeah.
Well, he's only got 3 songs that he's credited.
He's only wrote 3. I thought it was 2.
He co-wrote What Goes On with Lennon and McCartney.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, I know with Don't Pass Me By and Octopus Garden. But yeah, there's a lot of So that's Rubber Soul. I thought it was gonna be Revolver #1 because you did a whole essay about that album.
No, I still got. No, Rubber Soul's always been my favorite. Despite the fact that Run for Your Life is on that album.
Yeah, as the closer. But you can skip that though, because that's the last song.
Yeah.
So there you see, it's not like it's in the middle of anything.
Yeah, just stop with If I Needed Someone.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
The Hollies actually tried to record that song, and they actually tried to record If I Needed Someone, and I mean it was a modest hit. It was a top 20 hit for them, or top 25 hit for them, but I think that was kind of below par where they usually were, and I think a lot of that had to do with the Beatles releasing their own version around the exact same time, so the Beatles kind of tanked the Hollies version a little bit. Not that the Hollies version doesn't hold a candle to the Beatles version.
Yeah. Well, so that was our lists. Some takes pretty controversial. I can't wait to hear all the Abbey Road at 7 hate. That's going to be fun. And yeah, I was not expecting some albums that you had.
What about the White Album being super low for me, or lower
Yeah,
than expected?
that definitely is pretty shocking. And Sgt. Pepper not being, wait, you had it at 4 or 3? I think you had it at 4, didn't you? Or 3?
I had it at 4.
Yeah, so yeah, that album not being top 3 is, yeah, everyone praises Sgt. Pepper and Abbey Road. They do have more than those 2 albums. If you want to, like, I would start with the early stuff. I think Please Please Me is very fun. But yeah, I do think it does sort of go a little, a tiny bit. And then if you like, you can also listen to Past Masters. There's a lot of good gems on there.
That's where I Want to Hold Your Hand, She Loves You, Day Tripper, We Can Work It Out, all those, Paperback Writer, Hey Jude, Lady Madonna, all the works, all the Ballad of John and Yoko.
Yes. They got the, then early on, they toured with Roy Orbison.
Yeah, and then fast forward, 25 years later, and George Harrison and Roy Orbison are in the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah, that was a crazy group.
I think there was one time when Roy Orbison heard he was going to be with the Beatles, I think he asked, "What's a Beatle?" And I think John said something like, "Turn around."
Wow, that's cold. But yeah, pretty good lists. I would love to do more of these like longer videos. This will be an extremely long video, but that's fine. That's what I was planning to do. So I've recently been getting into other music. By the way, he's a huge fan of the older side when it comes to music. So like 60s, 70s, and all that. That's kind of like where you Is that like where you fall in?
Yeah, roughly.
Roughly, yeah. A lot of rock.
Well, I work at probably the most diverse radio station in Northeast Ohio when it comes to rock and roll, Cool Cat 98.9.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Shameless plug there.
Yeah. Seriously, it's pretty cool. But no, we could. I definitely love to have you on eventually.
Absolutely.
Later on, we talk about. I was thinking maybe a top 10 70s albums of all time, or like top 10 favorite 70s albums. I know
cool.
like Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder just popped in my head recently, so that's why I was thinking about that.
Rumors, Hotel California.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah. I'm doing this exact same video with someone else for Pink Floyd, so stay tuned for that. That'll be in April, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely.
That was very fun to talk, and
Thanks for having me.
I thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. Especially comment, because these takes you probably shrugged or made a little face at your phone when you heard either the White Album being low or Abbey Road being low, because I know it's going to be kind of controversial. But yeah, that'll be all for today's video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.